Well, for some reason, the voice typing software on my computer has stopped working. Thus, this live video email and the rest of live video emails for the foreseeable future, unless I unforeseeably decide to not be lazy, shall be old-fashioned. That's the first thing I have to say. The second is, I'm sorry this live email has been so late in coming. I meant to give it out a lot sooner, but I was waylaid by starting school and then getting sick and then giving a 9-hour talk explaining Catholicism. Don't get me wrong. I understand perfectly well that saying I don't have time just means I don't prioritize I had enough, but it's completely accurate to my experience, so I have no problem saying that. Anyway, we're here now. Thus, whatever the trivial amount of concern and disappointment you have felt at this point can subside. All is right in your soul. Let's begin. The day after my last live email, I have no idea what day that was, permitted me to do quiet time in the morning, do some employment stuff, and then spend some time with Neo and Morgan, at the Morgan Library, bringing him to the next level in his philosophy training. I don't know if I explained this before, but in the like event I have not. I shall explain it now. See, I've undertaken teaching Neo philosophy from the ground up, and granted, it's quite the ambitious undertaking, and frankly, I do question my sanity at times, and further, if I really care enough about him to go through it with him. But the answer so far has been a hesitant yes, and a hesitant yes is still a yes, so we're going to do it. So yeah, I don't know if this is the first session we did or not, but basically I spent like 2.5 hours with Neo at the library teaching him philosophy. After that happened, we went back to his house and played some Magic. I got some food and took Grace to South Great Youth Group. Once I got home, I engaged in a favorite old pastime of mine, Minecraft plus Pints Aquinas. I'm sure I've said this before, but I've listened to so much Matt Fradd, it literally does not matter what he talks about. I just enjoy his voice at this point in time. Thanks, most of the time, the stuff he actually talks about is informative, so it's not like a meaningless obsession. So yeah, I played some good old Minecraft. My castle is still progressing, albeit quite slowly. Here's a picture of where I'm at right now. I made a water-producing gem in the main tower, so that when it becomes day, it produces water. Then that like circles the tower, and then when it's night, it automatically turns off. Other than that, the obviously notable thing is the Inconceivable Brony label. See, ever since we watched My Little Pony on the trip, Katie has become suspicious of my personhood, and since the tenant of the said trip was honest when I was accused of being a brony, I had no choice but to reveal my dark past. Ever since, she has been very keen on reminding me at every turn. Thus, my Minecraft castle was pony griefed. They hid 5 horses and apparently some sheep pretending to be horses. I don't really get that part. In my castle, along with some signs, and then put the label upon me that you see over my glorious creation. However, since Twilight Sparkle now lives in one of my houses, it's actually hard to be mad. All right, for those of you who don't know, a brony is a bro, aka a dude, that liked My Little Pony, aka, yeah, this show. Here's a picture. The very first image you see when you look at My Little Pony. And yeah, I really don't want to say more than I have to about that. Upon revisiting, I don't think the show is very good, though it does have some nostalgic charm for me. And I did watch approximately, 190 episodes. So, yeah, it's out there. I'm sorry. I repent of it. I was once that man, but I'm not anymore. Anyway, most of the Minecraft progression was in terms of killing like 10,000 mobs. I actually have so much gunpowder bones and so forth, and curing the occasional zombie villager so that he would take up residence in my castle and give me extraordinary deals. And while that progress was nice and non-trivial, once I installed my automatic waterfall, I suddenly found out that very special villagers that I find very hard to cure and like level up were nowhere to be seen. And just as I was scratching my head wondering where they could have gone, I happened to see my Fletcher climbing the wall and then jumping off the waterfalls to his death. So that mystery was solved, albeit unpleasantly. You would at least hope that villagers like AI was smart enough for them to like swim up the waterfall in the first place, that they like stay in the waterfall, but no, apparently not. So yeah, effectively I'm back to square one because all my villagers committed suicide. I wonder what that says about my living conditions. Anyway, all the Minecraft stuff happened later. I guess I've got to go through that all at the outset. But wherever Minecraft's mentioned, this is the sort of stuff that's been happening. The other thing I did that day was I responded to Magic of Reason, which I really need to start doing again because I haven't just had the time recently. And then I went to bed. The following day, I did the morning routine, went to a really pointless, but I'm sure mandatory, orientation for CSU. However, as soon as I learned that staying wasn't mandatory, I left and went home because it was dumb. I then met with some freshmen and played a bit of spike ball, which is always fun, before taking a shower and then going and doing some Minecraft with Matt and listening to Matt Fratt. I then came back to CSU that night because the huge freshman Ram welcome party thing with free food and tons of people hanging out in the main room fields was cool. And I didn't want to miss that. I basically got free body armor and then played a ton of spike ball at the wee hour, or at least 3 hours. It was a great time, but my only regret is I saw some religious sisters there and I really wanted to talk to them, but I got too sucked into my spike ball games to notice when they left, so that was a bummer. I've got to say, religious sisters are cool. Like, actually the peak of female existence. They're just epic. Then, after playing spike ball till roughly 10, I came home and did more Matt Fradd before Minecraft before going to bed. The next morning, combined quiet time breakfast and all that into the morning, and then before the whole family went up to eat. And honestly, it was a pretty decent time. We played some Ticket to Ride in the coffee shop as we waited, up to Esses to eat. Out the rain, and we got burgers, and we, caught up some, and it was good. Once we got back, Ben and I attended Kale's birthday party, which was per my suggestion, at an axe-throwing pub. That's right, you drink axes. Nope. You drink alcohol. Throw axes. Nothing could possibly go wrong. But yeah, I perhaps obviously did not get an alcoholic beverage, but I did participate in the axe throwing, and I did very well. There was like some knack to it. I can't explain it, but you just kind of gotta get into the groove, and then you can make the axe stick in the wood every time. And then once I got that, I decided I just wouldn't mess with it, and I just hit the exact same spot in the same way for the rest of the night. It was a surprisingly good time, and overall, fairly entertaining. After that, I ended up playing some Magic the Gathering with John and Brony at their house till late. For the first time, I went past my 12 p.m. bedtime that I've had. Thankfully, it hasn't turned into a habit, but, I'm willing to step past that time occasionally. I set myself that bedtime, so it was a pretty big deal to go past it. But anyway. The next day I woke up, did some Magic deck revisions, and then John, Alan, Neo, Sydney, and I did an escape room together for Neo and Sydney's anniversary. And it was pretty good. I don't think it was like as good of an experience as with the squad back in California, because we all like worked together there, and in this one, Neo and everyone just wasn't very harmonious. But I decided, when everyone worked on puzzles, I would just like brute force them, and it worked well. So yeah. Anyway, we ended up getting the 5th best time in the room. Granted, not entirely to my trial and error method, but I played a significant part in us getting that time. Regardless, it was a good time. I do really enjoy escape rooms, and we did that super well. After that, went to Panera and got food, which was great. Then we went back to Neo and Sydney's place and played Jackbox games, which, of course, I did not love because I've never been a huge fan of Jackbox games. But it was better than some of my previous Jackbox experiences. And then, because it was Saturday, I did Ratchet Christie and caught up with Liam before battling him in an anime quiz and losing, like always. He's actually been studying the anime openings. Like, he's intentionally listening to certain ones to memorize them. And you can tell once we fight. Like, he's quite the formidable opponent. I suspect I forgot to write down notes for what happened on Sunday, because that day I just have notes about the first day of school. But that couldn't have happened because it was Sunday. So, yeah, I can't remember what happened, but I don't think it matters. So I'm going to press on. Monday, CSU began. And overall, it was a pretty stressful day. I had 3 of my 4 classes on the same day. And the big thing that was sketchy was my Calculus 3 teacher. She was Asian of some sort, and I couldn't understand a word she was saying. It was a class of over 100 people, so I couldn't ask her to clarify either. Plus, her teaching methods were not super clear. And she banned calculator use, which is a thing across all CSU math classes apparently, but still very annoying. So yeah, that got me stressed out because I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to learn Calc 3 with this person as my teacher. But other than that, things went pretty well. I also had my first day off at work in the health and exercise science department. And that was decently stressful because I just got a huge info dump, but overall manageable. And then I went straight to the first meeting of the semester where I talked with Ratchet Christie meeting of the semester. And I talked with Alan till 11 there. And yeah, it was a very big day. Once I got home, I decided I needed to go on a run to de-stress, and so I did that, and I felt significantly better. The next day was slower because I only had 2 classes, and due to the way my schedule has worked out, that day doesn't start till 12:30 on Tuesdays and Thursdays, not counting all the morning routine stuff, so that was really nice. However, that day was still stressful as some of my classes had already started giving me homework, and I was still worried about my math class, plus, a new job. So once I finally got home, I decided I needed to defrag. Thus, after sorting through, or thinking of sorting out, well, really actually making things worse, so health insurance stuff, I just watched anime and chilled. The next day, I knew what to expect, so I was a lot less stressed. I had school and work, as is the new norm. And then once I got home, I watched a bit of anime and then did some Minecraft with Pints with Aquinas until bed. Friday, I had a early work meetup to meet all the coworkers, which was death because of the aforementioned early adjective. I did some adjective reason stuff, got transferred to another math class where my teacher was not only understandable, but also epic. Despite the fact he's a 4th-year PhD student in math, he is ripped. Basically Captain America in his mannerisms. He is awesome. So glad I transferred. I then took a quiz that I haven't even learned the content for, and like you'd expect, didn't do great. And then I played a bit of Minecraft, played some Magic with Braden and Maddie, which honestly I didn't enjoy very much, but, mostly because they were just fighting each other for the whole time. And then finally went on a drive with Ben, and that was a really good conversation. The next day was Saturday. I woke up around the same time as usual, but I went over to the James's for a cider day they were doing. However, once I got there, they had already done the cidering, thus I just got to drink the cider, which personally I don't feel is all that bad of a state of affairs. Ben, Benj, Johanna, Sam, Seth, and I played some Spikeball, which was fun, before the Myers had to go, and I just played some Magic with Joe. However, then Joe offered to go on a drive, like the good old days, which I eagerly accepted, and it was great to reconnect with him, and it was a really good drive. Once I got back, we played a bit more Magic before I headed over to Ratchet Christie, Noah's house for some Smash Bros, which was fun. But I had to cut that short because I told Mom I would like her to go on a row with me. Now, mind you, she wasn't actually running with me. Rather, me and Mom have been doing this thing now where Mom bikes beside me and I run, and she talks to me about stuff, and honestly, it's pretty great. I'm really glad we started doing it. So yeah, got back in time for that, had a good run, but Mom got lost, ironically, so I mostly ran by myself, and then we watched the anime episode before in bed. Sunday, I showed up to Southgate, because that's one of those trip changes I decided to make, aka go to church consistently again. I stuck around for the lunch break, where Joe and I decided we would start playing Magic after lunch, and now people are bringing games. It's just like become a time for everyone to play board games together, which I think is pretty great. And then after lunch, I went over to Neo's and did a bit of Magic before we had the first session of John's campaign, which is great. Trying to lean to the role playing this time. That's making the whole experience a lot better. We then did Bible study, which is more like a debate time, and then played a lot of Magic with everyone until went bed. However, once I got home, I did work on a Magic deck for a bit. Monday, I had settled into a routine of sorts, so that felt much more normal. I worked downstairs at the lab part of Health and Human Exercise Science, which is a bit stressful and not too bad. I then got some math tutoring for concepts that I missed while I was working on transferring classes to the Epic math teacher's class. I then stopped by home briefly before going to Ratio, getting free Panda Express, which was great, and then playing Magic with friends. Next morning, instead of doing quiet time, I met with Sean at the Alley Cat. We had a pretty decent talk. Then, as I left, I saw a guy waiting for a chess game, and since I used to do that back in the day, I obliged him and subsequently crushed him, which was good. I tend to forget how I'm actually like really decent at chess, because I'm always in the presence of the god, who is Benj. After I went to school, did school stuff, did work, did math homework, and then did Tuesday night stuff with the squad before going home early because I was worn out taking a bath and watching some anime. The next day was just plug and chug, quiet time, school, work, homework, and then I played some Magic with Joe, which I think went well. And then I went on a run and watched some anime. I think the next day was Thursday, and I had my advisor appointment in the morning, so kind of like going to plan out my next few years at CSU. Looks like I have 3 years ahead, including the semester. My next semester is going to be a bit heavier on the course load, but still not bad, only like 15 credits overall, so I'm pretty happy with that plan moving forward. I then did more homework, hung out with Noah, and caught up before playing some Magic games with him, and eventually Joe, and then just heading to bed. The next day, I did the normal things, but as work was ending, I realized that I was starting to feel sick. However, since Joe, Jake, and I had planned to attend the Dominaria pre-release for Magic, I just kind of pushed through and went anyway, which may have been a mistake. First of all, I did horribly. I won one of the 4 games I played, though I did get some really good cards despite that, and then I was just feeling sick by the time I got home. The next day, it really hit me, though. I felt garbage. Like, I just spent the whole day watching anime and trying to ease my sick body. See, I always think it'll be nice to have an excuse to just watch anime for the whole day, but when you're sick, it isn't even enjoyable. Like, what I really wanted to do was just sleep, but I couldn't let myself because then the whole time would just be a complete waste. So, if I got through this anime, at least I could add to my watch list, which is 87 anime, by the way. Not entirely sure I should be proud of that number or mortified by it, but, yeah, my whole day was just suffering. The next night, that night was no exception. I hardly slept at all and just sucked. The next day, I felt even worse. I got up to a 102.5 degree fever, if that helps you understand where I was at. It was horrible. Felt really bad, and again, just mostly watched anime and slept. The next day, I got pretty bad sleep once more, but thankfully, I did start to feel better. Also, thankfully, it was Labor Day weekend, so I got an extra day to recover, which was 100% needed. So yeah, I did a bit of Magic deck building interspersed with rest and anime, and felt a ton better by the end of the day. Like, normal sickness was better than, like, feeling like I was just dying. Tuesday, I went to school because I actually have to if I want to stand up my classes, but I definitely was not feeling 100%. Still, I made it through the day alive, but I wasn't feeling great. I skipped most of my typical Tuesday activities. However, I did decide to stop by at the tail end at the tail end of something, to wait for like an hour while everyone finished up the Magic they were playing in. Also, the new deck I made super sucked, and it was a letdown. So yeah, I got to play a tiny bit, but I mostly went home feeling garbage and disappointed. Wednesday, however, I felt a lot better. I almost felt not sick better, like, yeah, almost there. So the day went way smoother. I did work, school, and a tiny bit of anime, then went to Magic Club where I taught a new girl how to play, and also fought my Ultra deck against one of Sebastian's deck, which went really well. I was quite happy with the results. Thursday, I was finally better, and then just did normal school stuff. I did homework before coaching Neo through the next bit of philosophy in the natural science building, and then I got home and watched this anime movie about reverse gravity, and it was very interesting. 2 days ago, I endured Friday, wherein I had a math quiz where my math teacher was just like, I'm going to fill up my water bottle for exactly 5 minutes. Wink. And then everyone, just asked everyone else for help on the quiz, which he obviously was totally okay with. So, yeah, he went kind of down in my book, though. Some points for that. Still a good math teacher, though. Oh, and then I scraped through my homework that I had to do this weekend. I went on a run with Mom in the rain, and I thought it was great. Her less so. Finally, I went to Joe's house and played some Magic. As for yesterday, the vast majority of yesterday was spent with me explaining, as pre-planned, to Neos, John, and Sydney the real Catholic doctrine and why common Protestant arguments against it suck. All told, that evening took 9 hours, so actually ages. We did some significant breaks, but it was a lot. Hence, when that finished, I was pretty done, and I just went home and took a bath and watched some anime. However, after that, I did hop on the Ratchet Christie Minecraft call and talk with Alan Liamson. Finally, as for today, I went to Southgate, did a bunch of lunch, a bit of volleyball, which was kind of lame, honestly. Then some Magic. After I went straight in Neo's Sydney's for D&D, which is pretty great, and then did Bible study. Probably after that, I came back home, went on a roller coaster to defrag. I think that means in VR. I don't know. And then hastily wrote this for the next 2 or so hours because I knew if I did not write it now, I wouldn't get it written for another week. And seeing as it's already late, and I don't think I'm going to give it an audio version or proofread it, I'm just going to like eat it out there and hope it works. So yeah, you're welcome.